This part of thermodynamics second law, we are going to discuss about Carnot cycles, Helmholtz free energy work function, or it is called Helmholtz function also, gives free energy and it is effect on spontaneity. Let's start with Carnot cycle. Actually, Carnot cycle can be used to find out the utility of second law of thermodynamics. In this Carnot cycle, this is a cycle that in this cycle we have to find out how much amount of work we will obtain by giving heat. Now let's start. Now this is the diagram I have mentioned. This is the diagram I have already mentioned over here. That means that in case of Carnot cycle, this is the overall cycle. What is the cycle? That means that 4 steps are taken over here. Step 1, that is A to B. It is isothermal expansion. It is A to B at temperature T2. That because it is isothermal, so temperature remain constant. That is T2. So work will be what? W1. That the first work done will be this one, RT2 ln V2 by. This is the volume at position B. This is the volume at position A. So obviously it is RT2 ln V2 by V1, and this is the amount of heat absorbed by the system. Now moving to the next part, then B to C. This movement is for is adiabatic expansion. This is the adiabatic expansion. For isothermal, this will be the curve, and for adiabatic, this will be the curve. Adiabatic is much more steeper than isothermal, so that's why this is the curve that is followed. So adiabatic expansion, in case of adiabatic expansion at temperature change to T1 to T2. Obviously it is adiabatic, so temperature must be changed. So initially it was T2, now the temperature has been changed to T1. So temperature changed to T1 from T2. So work done will be, the second work done will be like CV T2 minus T1. As we discussed in early video, that means in case of adiabatic expansion or adiabatic process, the work done will be calculated by this manner. Now moving to the third part. So third part means C to D. In case of it is also the isothermal process, but initially it was the expansion, it was the compression. So because the volume is contracting, so it is the compression. So it is the isothermal compression. Again the temperature remains same, that is T1, that is in the temperature of sink. So again the work will be RT1 ln V4 by V3. Now moving to the last step. This is the last step, step 4. That is step 4, D2A. D2A, it is the, so moving to the initial position, the starting position, that is A. So system is moving to the starting position D2A. So that is adiabatic, that is also the adiabatic, this is also adiabatic. So adiabatic, that is also adiabatic process, that is the compression. So again the temperature work done will be CV T1 minus T2. So hope that it's clear. According to the diagram, we have find out the 4 work done. Now we have to calculate the total work done from here. Now we have to calculate the total work done. Total work done. So total work done, how we can calculate? It's very simple. W1 plus W2 plus W3 plus W4. So all over the cycle, the total work done can be calculated by this manner. As I already find out the value for each work done, that is W1 is RT2 ln V2 by V1 plus W2, that is W2 CV T2 minus T1. Okay, then W3, this is the W3. So let's put this value here, RT1 ln V4 by V3. Now the remaining one, that is W4 CV T1 minus T2. So we have got these values. So after addition, what will be? It will be cancelled out. This and this two will cancel out. The remaining part will be V1 plus R T1 ln V4 by V3. So this is the remaining part. Now mathematically we can prove from the diagram. Mathematically we can prove, because it is the parallel one, so mathematically it can prove. That means V2 by V1 equal to V3 by V4. So from this equation, say equation number 1 it is. So from equation 1 we can write total work W equal to RT2 ln V2 by V1 minus RT1 ln V3 by V4. So because it was V4 by V3, now it is V3 by V4. Obviously the mathematical, that means it ln, the value will be, that means the positive sign will be -1. Now this and this value is identical, so it may be the common factor. So the resultant will be hope that is clear to all of us, because it is say equation number 2 from equation 2. So this is the total work done we have got in this cycle, in this Carnot cycle. We have got this total work done. Now let's find the efficiency. Efficiency is denoted by eta. Eta is equal to W by Q. That means the amount of heat absorbed and amount of work we have got, amount of work obtained. So this is called efficiency. Efficiency also important term. Question may be asked, what do you mean by efficiency? So this is a ratio between work obtained work done and amount of heat absorbed. So the equation becomes R T2 minus T1 ln V2 by V1 divided by R T2 ln V2 by V1. Be familiar with the Q. Already I have mentioned in the last page. That means W1, that is equal to Q. So that Q value I have put here. So ultimately after the calculation, what will be the result over here? After that the calculation will be like that. Efficiency becomes W by Q. It will become what? It will be cancelled out. It will be cancelled out. The remaining part will be hope that is clear to all of us. So W by Q can be represented as delta T by T2. So W equal to Q T. So this is the amount of work obtained. So this is the overall Carnot cycle we have discussed. So we have to remember that. So by this way we can calculate the total amount of work done obtained from this cycle. Now moving to the next important part, that is Helmholtz function. Or it is work function also, mentioned as A. Now this A is represented by E minus Ts. I think we hope that we have remembered. E means internal energy, T means absolute temperature, S means entropy. So this is the overall equation for work function. Now if we find out why it is mentioned work function, let me elaborate over here. At fixed temperature, that means isothermal process. What will be the result over here? It will be delta A equal to delta A minus T delta S, because no change in temperature, so that delta T will be 0. Delta T equal to 0, no change in temperature because it is isothermal one. So ultimately we have got this equation. Now this T delta S is nothing but that is Q. So that is equal to minus W max. From the first law of thermodynamics we can easily write this out. So it's very simple, and we all know that delta S equal to delta S equal to delta, let me show you, delta S equal to so obviously from this equation delta Q equal to T delta S. So in case of T delta S I have replaced it, so it becomes Q, so it becomes W max. So maximum work, that means the what you can write over here, that means we can write over here from it we can write what we can write, W max equal to minus this. So what is the meaning of this? That means A is the thermodynamics property which denotes the maximum work done obtained. This W may be purely mechanical or partly mechanical and partly external. So that's why it is known as what? Work function. So overall it is Helmholtz function. Next moving to the Gibbs free energy. That is the very vital one, Gibbs free energy. Gibbs free energy is the very vital one. Why it is vital one? Because depending on this value, Gibbs free energy value, we can easily find out whether the process is spontaneous or not. That means spontaneity totally depends on the Gibbs free energy value. Now the equation here, G equal to Gibbs free energy is represented by G. So G equal to H minus Ts. Very important one. It's very important. We have to remember that. So this is H minus Ts. You can write H in place of H. We can write E plus PV also, because we all know that enthalpy is represented by E plus PV minus Ts. So we can write these ones also. No problem will be there. Okay. Now from here, at fixed temperature and pressure, we can write delta G, because pressure and temperature is constant. So what we can write over here, that delta G, here delta T and P is a constant value, so delta G become, let's think about this. Okay, dH minus TdS minus STT. Now because it is the, as I mentioned, it is the temperature is fixed, so what we can write over here, TdS. So we can write over here like this way. Here we have to remember that for any spontaneous process, process, delta G must be equal to negative. This is the very important part, we have to remember that. Whenever delta G equal to positive, this is non-spontaneous, and whenever delta G equal to 0, it is the reversible one. The process is reversible or process is in equilibrium. So we have to remember that. So these are the things we have to remember, that whenever spontaneous, when the system becomes spontaneous, our answer will be the change of Gibbs free energy must be negative. It's very important.